How are we all doing today? Good afternoon. Today we'll be looking at our English comprehension. And the topic for English comprehension today is reading passages on punctuation. We'll be reading a passage on punctuation and we'll also be looking very briefly at punctuations. Now, what do we hope to learn? We hope that at the end of the lesson, pupils should be able to read the passages correctly, be able to identify punctuation marks and how they are used, and make use of appropriate punctuations to end the sentence. So there's a mistake there again. We'll be making use of, oh no, this is English, brilliant English rather. So it's brilliant English page 144 and not English grammar. I tend to mix them up, so that's my bad. Brilliant English page 144. Now let's read. This is a passage on punctuation. It's on page 144 of our Brilliant English. I read, "This is primary 1 class. The teacher is Mr. Kunle. He's teaching the pupils punctuation. Punctuation makes us to read and write well. Yes. There are some signs on the blackboard. Can we see the signs? Yes, there are some signs on the blackboard. They are called punctuation marks. We begin our sentences with capital letters. Names of persons, days of the week, and months of the year also start with capital letters. The full stop is used at the end of a sentence. Comma is used for a short pause. The question mark is used at the end of a question." Now, that ends the passage. Let's look at the passage again. Let's look at it. You can see the classroom is a typical classroom just like ours, with a teacher teaching on the board. Is writing some things on the blackboard. You can see on the board we have some marks. I know you'd have seen them while I was writing. Maybe while I'm writing my notes on the board, you'd have seen me use some of these marks that are on the board now. These marks in English language are called punctuations. We have these marks too. We have some signs too in mathematics that we use, just like we have a plus sign that tells us to add. We have minus sign that tells us to take away. We have the multiplication sign that tells us to multiply, and so on. These signs too in English language tell us something. In fact, they help us to read well, like the passage tells you. These signs, just like the one we have in mathematics, though they are not the same, they have different names, but just like in mathematics, this sign also have meanings. They have meanings and they tell us to do something. So these signs help us to arrange our reading, our words and sentences, to make it so that they make sense. If you write a sentence or a word, look at this passage that we're reading. Can you notice some of those signs there? I can notice them. I can see them. Excuse me. Sorry for this. Let's go back to the page we were in. So can you notice some of these signs? They are in this passage too. Can you notice it? Look at the first paragraph. This is primary 1 class. Can you see that sign, that mark at the end of it? Can you see that it is also used in this passage? So it means that without this sign in any English text, a text is a group of words that you read and that means something, that tells you something. Yeah, an instruction or a statement or a sentence. A group of words. Any group of words is called a text. So these signs called punctuation are always used in text to help us to read well and write well. Without them in a text, the group of words will sound like rubbish, because you will not know when to stop and when to continue. So that's why we said these signs, they tell us to do a lot of things in the sentence. They tell you things. Like the first sign you can see on the blackboard that looks like a dot is called full stop. We're going to look at all the signs one after the other extensively. it tells you to do something in a sentence. The next sign you can see there, though it's not so bold, let me try. Okay, it's not so bold, is a comma. And then we have the last sign, we have the question mark. All the signs, you'd have seen them before. We also have the capital letters. Capital letters are also punctuations. Now let's take a look at some. We'll be looking at some of the punctuation marks, not everything. The first one, you can see it boldly in color red, highlighted with red. Full stop. The full stop is like a dot. And this full stop is used at the end of a telling sentence. A sentence that tells you something. Sorry for that. A sentence that tells you something. A telling sentence. Full stop. For example, I like rice and beans. I'm telling you now. I like rice and beans. Can you see the full stop at the end of that sentence? So when your sentence is telling somebody something, you end it with a full stop. Sam can dance ballet. Sam can dance ballet. That sentence is telling you about what Sam can do. You can see the full stop at the end. So when your sentence, when you want to tell somebody something, when you write a sentence that tells something, that is telling something, I love my school. I'm telling you, at the end of that sentence, I'm to use a full stop. Now that full stop is showing that that sentence tells something. It's also telling you that that sentence has come to an end. I like rice and beans. Period. So the full stop is also called period. The sentence has ended. That's what it does at the end of the sentence, to tell you, period. That's all I want to say. The sentence has ended. So full stop has a lot of significance in a sentence. It's used at the end of a telling sentence. That's the most important thing you need to know. Any sentence that tells you something, full stop is used at the end. And it also signals the end of a sentence. It tells you that the sentence has come to an end, period. Now let's look at some other examples that this full stop is used. Let's look at the sentences we have here. We have to read this. This is a goat. It's telling you, this is a goat. Can you see that that sentence ends with a full stop? Can you see the full stop? You can see it right in front of the word goat. We have another sentence. These are goats. Can you see this? The full stop ending the sentence. They are telling you, these are goats. And lastly, we have the last sentence. They are 4 goats. They're still telling you that the goat you see here has been counted, and there are 4. Can see another full stop. Full stop, period. So it is used at the end of a sentence that is telling you something. The full stop. Now we have another punctuation we'll be looking at today, and that is question mark. What I call the punctuation mark. Can you see it? Highlighted in red. Yes. It's called a question mark. A question mark. And the question mark is used at the end of a question. Is used at the end of a question that is an asking sentence. A question is also known as an asking sentence. A sentence that is asking you something. So if you say a sentence, or if you write a sentence that is asking something, can I have your pen? That's a sentence that's asking. I'm asking you, can you dance? At the end of that sentence, you don't use a full stop because it's not telling. You're not telling me if you can dance. You are asking me if I can dance. Can you dance? Use a question mark at the end of that kind of sentence because it's a question. Can you dance? Is the ball for Ben? It's a question. I'm asking. Is the ball for Ben? You can see at the end of that sentence we have a question mark. Because it's a question. I'm asking. And these questions, these kinds of sentences, these asking sentences always demand an answer. So when I ask you, can you dance? I'm expecting you to answer me. So it means that the sentence has not come to an end. I'm still expecting an answer. So that's why we use a question mark and not a period, not a full stop, because the sentence hasn't ended. Question mark is used for questions, asking sentences. Let's look at some other examples of asking sentences or questions. What is your name? Can you see the sentence right at the top, labeled C? What is your name? You can see the two boys, the picture of the two boys. They're asking each other, what is your name? Is a question. And you can see the question mark right at the end of that sentence. We have another sentence. What are you? A boy or a girl? Is also a question. And you can see at the end of the question, we have a question mark. What are you? A boy or a girl? Exercise 2 says, ask your friend this question. What is this? I'm asking you now. What is this? So you see that that's another question. I'm asking you a question. What is this? Can you see the question mark at the end of that sentence? It is, if you're to respond to me, you say, it is a snake, right? It is a snake. Now you're telling me, I asked you, what is this? You're telling me it is a snake. At the end of your own sentence, what punctuation do you think will be there? Because I'm asking, what is this? And you're telling me with a sentence, it is a snake. So what punctuation mark do you think will be at the end of that sentence? You guessed right. Full stop. Period. It is a snake. Period. Look at question B. Who broke the bottle? Who broke the bottle? You might tell me and say, I don't know. Who broke the bottle? You can see the question mark at the end of who broke the bottle. So maybe if you want to reply me, say, I don't know. You're telling me now, I don't know. So you can use a full stop for that kind of sentence. We have another sentence here. Whose is this bag? Whose is this bag? That's another question. Whose is this bag? Or I can change the sentence and say, whose bag is this? That's another question. And you can see that the question ends with a question mark. Which of the two boxes is yours? Which of the two boxes is yours? That's another question. Whom do you see? This is the last question. Whom do you see? Whom did you see? And it also ends with a question mark. So these are examples of questions. Now, another thing you need to notice, there are some words that when they begin sentences, just know that they are asking questions. They signal an asking sentence. There are some words that signal asking sentence. These words are known as WH words. I think we have talked about it in one of our creative writing topics. WH words like what, who, why, whose, which. Can you see all these words are on the line? They are WH words and they always ask questions. They are question words. They are WH words, also known as what? Question words. They always ask questions. What, why, whose, which, whom, when, where. So they always ask questions. When you see them in front of a sentence or when you see them beginning the sentence, just know that that sentence is a question, is an asking sentence. Now, I would say these sentences and you tell me what punctuation mark I would use at the end of these sentences. I'm going to read the sentences now. We have to complete these sentences with the right punctuation. Where are you now? Am I asking or I'm telling? Yeah, I'm asking you, where are you now? So what punctuation would I use there? You guessed right. Question mark, because it's a question. It's an asking sentence, so we use a question mark. Now, sentence 2. Is that your book? Am I asking or I'm telling? Is that your book? Yes, I'm asking. So what punctuation mark would I use at the end of a question, an asking sentence? Yes, you got it. A question mark. And the last sentence here, the man is happy. The man is happy. I'm telling you right now, the man is happy. So what punctuation mark am I going to use? Full stop, because I'm ending the sentence. Very good. Very good. So our study task is an e-copy worksheet and it will be sent across later during the task time. So that's all on punctuation. The passage, I don't really want us to dwell on the passage because we have some questions under the passage which we are also going to answer. So the question under this passage is also part of our task. That's the first task. So the task 2 will be on punctuations, and that one will be sent later. That one I'll send it later. So that's the end of our topic on punctuation today. I hope you learned something new. Hope you're staying safe and you're, having fun and learning at the same time. Do have a wonderful day ahead. Bye.